I'm telling you, if you don't already know about Stack Audio's isolation solutions, I'm really glad you're here. A few months ago, I talked about Stack Audio's Auva equipment isolators. I also talked about the technology. Now, I'm not going to rehash everything that I said in that last video. There have been some new developments, which is why what I want to talk about today. And also, I want to talk more about the Serene Stabilizer. The last time around, I didn't have much of an impression because I didn't have a lot of time to spend with it. Last time I said this. So the jury is still out on this, but I have to say I do like it. I like the fact that it's not heavy. It's not putting any extra stress on my turntable. And if it helps with micro vibrations, all the better. Now, as far as having an opinion, I do now. Now, before I go on to what I really want to talk about today, I do want to touch on the Serene Stabilizer again. Now, to refresh your memory, or if you've never heard of it, to introduce you to it, the Serene Stabilizer sits over it's a stabilizer that sits over the spindle of your turntable. You might think it's like a record weight, but it's not. In fact, the word weight probably has no place to be used in the same sentence as this. This guy does not have much weight to it. It's 95 grams, which is about 3.5 ounces. That's not a lot of weight. Prior to this, I was always using this. This is my Bren 1 record weight, and the Bren 1 record weight weighs 10 more ounces than this guy. 10 ounces. That is a lot of weight. Now, why even use a record weight? Well, for me, I always used this to secure the record to help prevent some of those tiny vibrations from reaching the stylus. Most record weights do that by adding weight. Now, the Serene Stabilizer does not utilize weight. What it does do is it uses a new technology called Tension Activated Particle Absorption, or TAPA for short. And that's engineered to absorb micro vibrations. And I will say, since the day I received this, I've used it every single day with every single listen. And I hate to say, trust me, but I have no reason to exaggerate this claim because I'm not getting paid for this. And if you do buy one of these, I don't get anything for it. I did get this, but my review room is literally littered with things that have been sent to me to review. This is one of those things that I will probably never stop using. I will say this though, the only time that I do go back to using my Bren 1 is if I run into a record that has a concave warp. You do need to secure that, and those instances, luckily, are few and far between. And now let's move on to another one of their products, which is really what I wanted to talk about today. It's their Auva equipment isolators. As I said in my last review of these, I'm now using them under my Thorens. Now, it was already isolated from the cabinet and the floor on this wall shelf from Pangea Audio. But, it really can't hurt to isolate it even further. Now, I've never been fully convinced or thought that I needed to isolate my tube amp. And I know a lot of folks actually do this, but I was never really convinced of that fact. I never thought that it mattered a whole lot until this happened. Hear that? Now, that sound coming through the speaker is from me tapping the heavy cabinet that all of my records are in, or not all of my records, but a good portion of my records are in, and also my equipment, which sits on top of the cabinet. Now, I'm tapping on one end of it, and my amp is on the other end of it, and it was picking up those taps. The first time I heard it, well, actually, Mandy heard it first. I was pulling a record out, and my knuckles hit the cabinet, and that sound came through the speaker for the very first time. Now, I thought it was weird, so I thought, what's going on here? So I started tapping equipment. My turntable was fine. I tapped the turntable, tapped the phono stage, absolutely no problems there. When I tapped my tube amp, there it was. Now, there was no denying it, but why all of a sudden? Well, it's because I had just put a new set of tubes in, a brand new set of tubes that I had never used before. Now, I didn't realize this when I put the tubes in, but they were incredibly microphonic, or at least one of the tubes was incredibly microphonic. And I started thinking, what can I do about it? And I looked at the Auva isolators underneath my turntable and thought, why not? Maybe those will help. Now, this is directly on their website. So I placed 4 of them under my amp, and check this out. Before, and after. Now, to put it simply, the Auva EQs rock the Casbah, and it doesn't hurt to revisit very briefly how these things work. Using small particles to absorb vibrations and coupling it with a silicone absorber, the EQs convert vibrations into heat through particle impact dampening. It's a genius solution to a problem that a lot of us don't even know that we have until something like this happens. Now, going forward, when I put on a record, I can rest assured that any vibrations from movement around the system or micro vibrations from the speakers, they now have a very slim to nothing chance of ever reaching my stylus or my tubes. Now, it's very exciting, and the company is exciting too, because they're constantly innovating, and I can't wait to see what they come out next, especially because, a lot of their focus is on folks like me who are into, the final vinyl playback experience. So that's about it. I really wanted to talk about this kind of a new development or a new revelation to me that I needed to isolate my tube amps a little bit more. So if any of this information was helpful at all to you, please comment below and, like and subscribe. It does help the channel. And also there's a newsletter. I should mention the newsletter comes out once a week on Saturdays, and it's free to join. And there's a link in the description. So until next time, please take care of yourself, enjoy your records, and I will see you soon. Take care.